Hey folks, welcome back to Powerful Stoic Habits. This silence. Oh, it's powerful, isn't it? Well, what if I told you that it's not as powerful as you think, and all those ideas you've been clinging to about silence, lies, misconceptions, half-truths wrapped in pretty words. And yes, I know the title says, your silence is killing them inside. But here's the thing, it's incomplete. This silence isn't just killing them, it's killing what's been left inside you. It's stripping away their control, their drama, their heartbreak. It's burning away the parts of you that once bent over backward for their approval. And yes, it is powerful, but to make it powerful, you need an eye that shows its real strength, its true essence. And this video, this is that eye. This is the clarity you've been searching for, the perspective you need to understand the depth of your silence. So, are you ready to dive deep into this? Are you ready to uncover the kind of silence that doesn't just echo, but transforms? Because believe me, you've never thought about it like this before. Hit that like button under this video, subscribe to the channel, and let's take this journey together. Now, let's get into it. So, you think you know silence. You think it's just this clever little tool to hurt them back, to make them feel the same emptiness they left you with. You've been told, give them the silent treatment and they'll come running back. Ha! Scam, manipulation, lies wrapped up in easy answers. Let's be clear. Silence isn't about playing games. It isn't about creating some dramatic void that makes them crawl back to you begging for forgiveness. That's what society has been feeding you. This fantasy that if you just stop talking, they'll magically realize what they lost. But let me tell you something. Silence doesn't work like that. And deep down, you know it. Think about it. How many times have you gone silent, not because you wanted to, but because you were hurting? Because their words or actions cut so deep that you couldn't find the strength to respond? And what happened then? Did they come running back, apologizing for all the pain they caused? Or did they keep moving, completely unaware of the storm they left behind in your heart? Here's the truth no one wants to admit. Silence doesn't change them. It changes you. When Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength," he wasn't talking about using silence to control someone else. He was talking about mastering yourself, because real silence, the kind that transforms, the kind that empowers, isn't about manipulation. It's about liberation. It's about letting go of the need for their attention, their validation, their apology. The silence they talk about in those easy solution videos. It's poison. It's not silence at all. It's noise disguised as quiet. It's you screaming for their attention without saying a word. And you know what that does? It keeps you trapped. Trapped in their world, their games, their control. Let me ask you this. Why are you still trying to create a void in their life when they've already left one in yours? Why are you so focused on what they feel, what they think, what they might do, when the real question is, what are you doing for yourself? Epictetus once said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." And that's where silence becomes powerful. Not when it's aimed at them, but when it's used to free yourself. Imagine this. You're holding a rope, pulling with all your strength, trying to keep them close. Your hands are raw, bleeding, burning from the effort. But here's the kicker, they've already let go. You're pulling on empty weight, fighting a battle that only exists in your mind. Silence is when you finally drop the rope. It's when you stop trying to pull them back into your life and start walking forward, hand in hand with your own peace. That's the kind of silence that kills. Not them, but the power they once held over you. When you embrace true silence, you stop fighting battles that were never yours to fight. You stop screaming into the void, hoping they'll hear you. You stop waiting for them to notice the absence you've created, and you start building something new. A life so full, so vibrant, so unapologetically yours, that their presence or absence no longer matters. Think of silence like a forest fire. At first, it feels destructive, overwhelming, uncontrollable. But what does a fire do? It clears the dead wood, the undergrowth, the decay that's been suffocating new life. Silence burns away the lies, the heartbreak, the endless cycles of pain. And what's left behind is fertile ground, ready for growth, for renewal, for something extraordinary. Marcus Aurelius also said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." And that's what this is. Their rejection, their indifference, their silence. It's the fire. But your silence? That's the way forward. That's the path to freedom. So, let me hit you with this. Silence isn't about killing them with regret. It's about killing the part of you that still needs their approval. It's about ending the cycle of longing, of chasing, of hoping. It's about reclaiming your crown, your power, your life. It's time to drop the rope. Right here, right now. That rope you've been holding on to, pulling with every ounce of your strength, thinking if you just try harder, if you just hold on a little longer, they'll come back. That rope is tearing into your hands, burning your skin, bleeding your soul dry. And for what? They've already let go. You're holding on to dead weight, dragging it through your life like it still has meaning. But let me tell you this, it doesn't. That rope doesn't hold hope. It holds pain. It holds all the heartbreak, the rejection, the endless nights of questioning your worth. And every moment you cling to it, you're letting it define you. So drop it, right now. Let it fall to the ground. Feel the freedom in your hands as you let go of the fight, the struggle, the constant battle to prove your worth to someone who doesn't deserve it. That rope isn't your connection to them. It's your chain, your prison, your burden. And the second you drop it, you reclaim your freedom. Drop the rope, and with it, drop the doubts, the insecurities, the endless questions, because they don't matter anymore. What matters is what comes next, the life you build, the power you reclaim, the strength you uncover when you stop pulling and start walking forward. I want to know if my words are hitting where they need to. I want to see if you're ready to take this step. Write it in the comments right now. I drop the rope. Say it out loud. Write it down. Let me see if these words are creating the impact they're meant to. And trust me, the moment you do, you'll feel it. The weight lifting, the clarity rushing in, the strength building in your soul. So let's see it. Drop the phrase in the comments. Let the world and yourself know that you're done holding on to what no longer serves you. I drop the rope. Let's see if you're ready to let go, to rise, to reclaim your life. This is your moment. Let's make it count. And hey, we are not done yet, because the real gem of this video is just about to begin. So hold tight, because what's coming next? Oh, this is where things get real. This is where we strip away the illusions, tear apart the lies society has been feeding you, and dive headfirst into the unshakable power of Stoicism. The kind of power that doesn't just heal, it transforms. This is where you break the chains, reclaim your strength, and step into the life you were meant to lead. Let's rise together. Stay with me, because the next chapter, it will change everything. Number 1. The void they never warned you about. Let's get real. Society didn't prepare you for this part, did it? They told you that silence would create a void in their life, that they'd miss you, feel your absence, and regret letting you go. But here's the harsh truth they never told you. The void isn't in their life, it's in yours. It's been there all along, gnawing at you, growing in the shadows of every unanswered question, every unmet need, and every time you bent over backward for someone who couldn't care less. Let's face it, the void isn't new. You felt it even when they were still there. Remember those moments? Sitting beside them, but feeling miles apart. Talking to them, but sensing they weren't really listening. Loving them, but knowing deep down they weren't loving you back the same way. That's the void. It was there before your silence. You just refused to see it. Marcus Aurelius said, "Look back over the past, with its changing empires that rose and fell, and you can foresee the future too." What does this mean for you? It means that this emptiness you're feeling, this void, isn't about them. It's about the pieces of yourself you gave away without realizing they weren't coming back. But here's the question that's probably circling your mind right now. Why do I feel like I'm the one suffering? Why am I the one left with this emptiness? The answer is simple, and it's going to hurt. The void exists because you were pouring into someone who was never pouring back. You were trying to fill their life with meaning, but they weren't doing the same for you. Imagine this. You're standing at the edge of a well, bucket in hand, drawing water to give to someone else. You're thirsty too, but you don't stop. You keep drawing, keep giving, until the well runs dry. Now you're standing there, parched, staring into the void of an empty well. That's what this is. The void isn't punishment. It's a wake-up call. It's the mirror that forces you to see how much of yourself you've poured out for someone who never bothered to return the favor. But let's go deeper. You might be asking, if the void is in my life, how do I fix it? How do I stop feeling like this? Here's the hard truth. The void isn't something you fill by waiting for them to come back. You don't fix it by hoping they'll notice you, regret their actions, or miss your presence. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom doesn't come from someone else filling your void. It comes from you taking back the power you gave away. It comes from realizing that the well isn't meant to be filled by anyone but you. Let me ask you this. How long are you going to stare at the emptiness, hoping they'll come back with a bucket of water for you? How long are you going to believe the lies that silence is some magical way to make them realize your worth? The truth is, they won't. Because their life didn't change when you left. It kept moving. But here's where the power lies. So can yours. The void isn't your enemy. It's your opportunity. It's the blank canvas where you rebuild yourself, piece by piece. It's where you stop begging for someone else to pour into you and start overflowing with your own strength, your own peace, your own worth. Think of the void like a black hole, pulling everything around it into its center. But here's the catch. Even black holes don't stay empty forever. They collapse, and from their collapse, stars are born. That's your void. It's not the end of you, it's the beginning. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That void, it's not in your way. It is the way. It's the signal that it's time to stop pouring into others and start pouring into yourself. So, here's what you need to do. Stop staring into the void, hoping they'll notice. Instead, start filling it with your own power, your own light, your own growth. The void isn't here to destroy you. It's here to show you where you've been giving too much and receiving too little. Write this in the comments right now. I reclaim myself. Say it out loud. Write it down. Feel the shift as you declare that the void will no longer define you. It will refine you, because this is where it all begins. The void is your starting point, not your ending. And what comes next? Oh, that's where the real transformation happens. Number 2, the fantasy of their regret. They say that when you go silent, it'll hit them hard, that your absence will create this void so unbearable that they'll sit there, consumed by regret, haunted by your silence. They'll miss you, right? They'll realize what they lost, right? Wrong. That's the fantasy they sell you. That's the lie you've been told to keep you stuck, playing a game that doesn't even work. Here's the bitter truth. Silence doesn't make them regret anything, at least not in the way you think. Most of the time, they don't even notice. Their life keeps moving because, let's face it, if they didn't value you when they had you, what makes you think they'll sit around mourning your absence? That's the hard pill to swallow. You've been clinging to a fantasy, and it's time to wake up. Think about it. How many times have you gone silent, expecting them to reach out, only to be met with nothing? And how did that make you feel? Did it make you feel powerful, or did it leave you questioning your worth even more? Silence, when used as manipulation, is like casting a net into an empty ocean. You're hoping to catch something that isn't even there. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And here's the truth. Their regret, their reaction, their thoughts, those are outside events. They're not within your control. The second you use silence as a tool to manipulate them, you're giving them power over your peace. Now, let's dig into why this fantasy of their regret is so dangerous. It doesn't just fail to give you the results you want. It turns into a trap. A trap where you're sitting in silence, not healing, not growing, but waiting. Waiting for them to text, to call, to notice. And with every second that passes, your self-worth takes another hit. The silence that was supposed to empower you ends up enslaving you instead. Imagine this. You're standing in the desert, holding a phone, staring at it, waiting for a message that never comes. The longer you stand there, the thirstier you get. But instead of moving forward to find water, you stay rooted in place, convinced that if you wait just a little longer, the rain will come. That's what using silence as manipulation feels like, a self-inflicted drought. And here's the kicker. When the rain doesn't come, regret hits you, not them. You regret wasting so much time, so much energy, so much of yourself on a strategy that was never going to work. You regret sitting in silence, hoping for a reaction, instead of using that silence to rebuild your life. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." And that's where the true power of silence lies. Not in controlling them, but in freeing yourself. Let's get one thing straight. Silence is not a weapon to wield against them. It's a tool to wield for yourself. When you stop waiting for their regret, when you stop hoping for their reaction, you reclaim your time, your energy, your power. That's the silence that heals, that transforms. But let's be honest, there's probably a question lingering in your mind right now. If I don't use silence to make them regret, then what's the point? The point is this: silence isn't about them. It's about stepping out of their shadow, out of their world, and into your own. It's about creating space, Not for their regret, but for your growth. Think of silence like a seed planted in fertile soil. If you're constantly digging it up, checking to see if it's growing, it'll never take root. But if you let it be, if you nurture it with patience and focus on yourself, it will grow into something strong, unshakable, and undeniably yours. Marcus Aurelius also said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." The fantasy of their regret? That's the impediment, and breaking free from it is the way forward. So, what's the reality? Silence won't make them regret. Silence won't bring them back. But silence will set you free if you let it. It will give you the clarity to see what you've been holding on to and the strength to let it go. Write this in the comments right now. I let go of regret. Say it out loud. Write it down. Let it be your declaration that you're done waiting, done hoping, done living in a fantasy. Because what comes next isn't about them. It's about you. It's about using silence not as a game, but as a forge where you reshape your life, your peace, your power. Stay with me, because the next step will show you the true purpose of silence and how it becomes the foundation of your freedom. Let's keep moving. Number 3. The noise behind their silence. They tell you their silence is calculated, that every second they don't speak, don't text, don't reach out, is deliberate, that it's a game, a weapon designed to hurt you, to break you, to make you react. And maybe you believe it. Maybe you've spent sleepless nights analyzing their silence, convinced it's proof that they're thinking about you. But let me hit you with the truth. Their silence isn't about you. Their silence isn't a strategy. It's a reflection of their indifference. You've been taught to believe it's some masterful move in the game of relationships. But let's be real. How much energy do you think they're putting into their silence when they've already moved on? The noise you hear behind their silence. It's not them. It's you. It's the echo of your own thoughts, your own insecurities, your own unresolved pain bouncing back at you. Marcus Aurelius said, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Isn't that exactly what you're doing? You're giving their silence power it doesn't deserve, letting it dictate your emotions, your peace, your worth. Think of it like this. Their silence is a blank canvas. You're the one painting it with meaning, projecting your fears and hopes onto it. You imagine it's deliberate, that it's part of some grand plan to hurt you or make you feel small. But what if it's not? What if their silence simply means they've moved on, that they're too busy with their own life to think about you? And that's the hardest truth to swallow, isn't it? Because if their silence isn't about you, then you've been tormenting yourself over nothing. You've been standing in a room full of mirrors, shouting at your own reflection, thinking it's their voice you hear. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Their silence isn't the problem, your reaction to it is. You've been giving it power, letting it control your thoughts, your feelings, your actions. But here's the thing, you can stop. You can choose to stop making their silence your prison and start making it your freedom. Imagine standing on a stage, performing your heart out for an audience that's already left. The spotlight's on, the music's playing, but there's no one in the seats. That's what reacting to their silence feels like. You're pouring your energy into something that doesn't even exist anymore. So, what now? You let it go. You stop giving their silence meaning. You stop letting it be the noise that drowns out your own voice. Their silence isn't a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their priorities. And the second you stop trying to decode it, You take back your power. Write this in the comments right now. I own my silence. Say it out loud. Let it be your declaration that their silence no longer controls you. Stay with me, because the next step is where the real transformation begins. Let's rise. Number 4. The mirror that doesn't lie. The hardest part of all of this, facing the mirror. The mirror doesn't lie. It doesn't sugarcoat. It doesn't tell you what you want to hear. It tells you what you need to hear. And when you finally stand in front of it, when you strip away the excuses, the fantasies, and the lies society has fed you, the truth stares back, raw and unfiltered. It's not them. It was never them. It's you. The mirror shows you what you've been avoiding, that their silence isn't the problem. It's the questions you keep asking yourself in its wake. Why wasn't I enough? Why didn't they choose me? Why didn't they fight for me? The mirror answers with brutal honesty. Because you've been looking for your worth in the wrong place. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And this is the truth the mirror forces you to see. You've spent so much time chasing validation from someone else, trying to fix what they broke, that you forgot where real strength comes from. It doesn't come from their approval, it comes from within. But let's be real, facing the mirror is terrifying, because it doesn't just show you the pain they caused, it shows you the pain you've been causing yourself. Every time you begged for their attention, every time you stayed silent, hoping they'd notice, every time you let their indifference chip away at your confidence, that wasn't on them, that was on you. Epictetus said, "People are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them." The mirror shows you that it wasn't their rejection that hurt you. It was the way you interpreted it. You made their silence a statement about your worth. But what if it wasn't? What if their silence wasn't a rejection of you, but a reflection of their inability to see your value? The mirror also shows you your potential, the strength that's been hiding beneath the surface, waiting for you to claim it. But here's the catch. You can't access that strength until you stop running from your reflection. Until you stop blaming them, stop waiting for them, and start owning the role you've played in your own suffering. Imagine standing in a dark room holding a lantern. The mirror is the light that reveals the mess you've been standing in. It's uncomfortable, it's overwhelming, but it's necessary, because only when you see the mess can you begin to clean it up. So, what do you do when the mirror shows you the truth? You own it. You stop looking for answers in their silence and start finding them in yourself. You stop blaming them for not seeing your worth and start seeing it for yourself. Write this in the comments right now. I face the truth. Let it be your declaration that you're done running, done hiding, done blaming, because the mirror doesn't lie, and neither will you anymore. What's next? It's about stepping into the forge of silence, where you stop breaking and start rebuilding. Let's rise. Number 5. The forge of self-reinvention. The forge of self-reinvention. It sounds poetic, doesn't it? But make no mistake, this isn't a place of comfort. It's a place of fire, of heat, of pressure. It's where the old version of you burns away and something stronger, sharper and more powerful is forged in its place. This is the part where you stop breaking and start rebuilding, where you stop waiting for their regret, their validation, their recognition, and start focusing on your own transformation. Because the truth is, they're not coming back. And even if they did, would you really want to go back to the version of yourself that needed them to feel whole? Epictetus said, First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This is your chance to decide who you want to be. Not for them, not for anyone else, but for yourself. Imagine a piece of steel being placed into a forge. It doesn't become a blade overnight. It's heated, hammered, and shaped until it becomes something unbreakable. That's what the forge of self-reinvention is. It's the fire of silence, the hammer of reflection, and the shaping force of your own will. But here's the thing about reinvention. It's not about becoming someone new. It's about stripping away everything that isn't truly you. The insecurities, the doubts, the need for their validation. Those are the impurities that need to be burned away. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Stop debating your worth. Stop waiting for someone else to define it for you. Be the person who doesn't just survive heartbreak, but rises above it. Be the person who doesn't need their absence to grow, but uses it as fuel to thrive." Let me ask you this. What's been holding you back? What beliefs, what fears, what habits have kept you from stepping into your power? The forge of self-reinvention is where you confront those things, where you take the raw material of your pain and turn it into something extraordinary. But here's the catch. The forge doesn't work without effort. You can't sit back and hope for change. You have to step into the fire willingly, embrace the discomfort, and trust the process. You have to let go of the person you were, the one who waited, who hoped, who chased, and make space for the person you're becoming. Imagine walking into that forge, feeling the heat, hearing the hammer fall, and knowing that every strike is shaping you into something unshakable. This isn't where you fall apart. It's where you rise. Write this in the comments right now. I step into the forge. Say it out loud. Write it down. Let it be your commitment to yourself, your declaration that you're done waiting and ready to transform. Because what's coming next is your reign. This is the moment where you reclaim your crown and step into the life you were always meant to lead. Let's rise. Number 6. The crown. They'll never touch again. Imagine a crown, gleaming, untouchable, sitting atop your head. For too long, you let someone else hold it, let them place it on their head while you bowed before them. You handed it over willingly, thinking it would make them see your worth, make them value you. But here's the truth. They didn't cherish it. They didn't even know what to do with it. They tarnished it, left it lying in the dirt. And now it's time to take it back. This crown is your power, your self-worth, your identity. And once you reclaim it, they'll never touch it again. Marcus Aurelius said, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." That's what giving away your crown felt like, didn't it? Like you stopped living for yourself and started living for them. You adjusted your thoughts, your actions, your entire being just to fit into their world. And what did it get you? An empty throne and a bruised soul. But here's the thing about crowns. They were never meant to be shared. Your crown isn't something someone else can give or take. It's yours. It always was. You just forgot how to wear it. Think about all the times you bent over backward for their approval, all the nights you spent questioning your worth because they didn't see it. You placed your crown in their hands, hoping they'd recognize its value. But the truth is, someone who doesn't respect themselves will never respect the worth of another. So, you have a choice. Do you keep handing over your power, or do you pick up your crown, dust it off, and wear it like the ruler you are? Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That crown represents your mastery over yourself. It's not about controlling them or making them see your value. It's about standing tall, knowing that your worth isn't dependent on their recognition. Imagine yourself now, standing before that throne, crown in hand. You've been staring at it, hesitating, wondering if you're ready to wear it again. But let me tell you, you've been ready all along. The crown isn't something you earn, it's something you claim. And once it's on your head, that's the end of their control. They don't get to define you anymore. They don't get to touch what's yours. You stop living in their shadow and start ruling your own world. Write this in the comments right now. I wear my crown. Say it out loud. Write it down. Feel the shift as you take back what was always yours. Because from this moment on, you're not just surviving, you're reigning. And what comes next? Oh, this is where the legacy begins. Stay with me, because the final chapter will show you how to leave an impact that echoes far beyond their absence. Let's rise. Number 7. The legacy of your silence. Imagine standing in a quiet room, a stillness so profound that it feels alive. This isn't just silence, it's power. Not the kind of silence they taught you to weaponize, not the manipulative quiet you were told would make them regret. This silence, it's different. It's the kind that builds legacies. Because here's the truth. Silence is more than the absence of noise. It's the presence of strength. It's a declaration, a statement that says, I don't need to explain myself anymore. I don't need to beg, plead, or prove my worth to anyone. It's the place where you stop reacting to them and start creating a life that speaks for itself. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Your silence is how you stop arguing. It's how you stop justifying your value to people who couldn't see it in the first place. And in that silence, you start to build. You've spent so much time trying to make them notice you, trying to make them feel your absence. But let me ask you this. Why? Why are you still hoping their regret will fill the void they left behind? Regret doesn't change the past. Their regret, even if it comes, won't heal you. It won't rebuild what they broke. Only you can do that. Imagine a mountain. For years, the winds of rejection, indifference, and silence have tried to erode it, to wear it down. But a mountain doesn't crumble under the wind. It stands tall, unshaken, enduring. That's what your silence is. It's not retreating, it's standing tall. It's letting them see that no matter how hard they tried to break you, you remain unmovable, untouchable. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And this is what your silence does. It shifts your reaction. Instead of pouring energy into them, you pour it into yourself. You build a life so full, so abundant, that their absence becomes irrelevant. But let's hit this harder. What kind of legacy are you leaving behind? Is it one where you're remembered for chasing people who didn't value you, for waiting in the shadows of their indifference? Or is it one where you rise above, where your silence becomes the foundation of something extraordinary? Because your silence isn't just about you. It's about what you show others. When you choose to rise instead of react, when you choose to create instead of chase, you inspire. Your silence becomes a ripple that touches the lives of others, showing them that they too can break free. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone watching you, someone who's been stuck in their own cycle of heartbreak, their own loop of chasing validation. They see you standing tall, building your life, wearing your crown. And in that moment, your silence becomes their strength. Your actions become their roadmap. Marcus Aurelius said, "What we do now echoes in eternity." Your silence isn't just a momentary act, it's a legacy. It's the proof that you don't need noise to make an impact, that you don't need their regret to find peace. But here's the hard truth. Legacy isn't built overnight. It's built in the quiet moments, the choices you make every day. It's built in the times you choose growth over bitterness, self-respect over validation, and peace over chaos. Your silence isn't about punishing them. It's about freeing yourself. It's about stepping into a life so full of purpose, so rich with meaning, that their opinion, their actions, their regret no longer matter. And when you do that, you don't just heal, you thrive. So let me ask you this. What legacy are you building with your silence? Write it in the comments right now. I build my legacy. Say it out loud. Let it be your declaration, your commitment to yourself. Because what comes next isn't about them. It's about the mark you leave on this world. It's about the example you set, the lives you touch, the strength you show. This is the end of the chapter with them, but it's the beginning of something so much greater with you. Let's rise. Let's build. Let's create a legacy that doesn't just echo in eternity. It transforms it. Your silence isn't just the absence of noise. It's the presence of your power. It's the statement that you no longer live for their validation, their regret, or their acknowledgement. This journey isn't about them. It's about you, about reclaiming your crown, rebuilding your life, and creating a legacy that speaks louder than any words ever could. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Let their rejection, their silence, their absence be the way forward. Use it as fuel to rise higher, to live fully, and to thrive unapologetically." So now, it's your turn. What will you do with this silence? Will you let it define you, or will you use it to redefine yourself? Write it in the comments right now. I rise above. Let it be your declaration, your commitment to yourself, and your promise to never look back. And if this video resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more powerful insights to keep you growing. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this, because together we rise. Let's keep moving forward. Your legacy starts now.